Hello and welcome to another edition of XFeed. You guys see the hat? The hat came, man. This is like the most expensive hat I've ever bought. But listen, we like the NFL draft and we're collecting what we like. We are not speculating. We have the item. I like it. I'm happy. I'm content. End of story. Today on XFeed, we're talking about filters, the future. We're talking about autonomous agents. We're talking about everything under the sun. If this is your first time tuning in, what's up? Let's get into it. So, hey, Cape had a great breakdown that I didn't actually realize these were the kind of numbers that happened during some of the airdrops. So, Hyperliquid, $10.84 billion was distributed. Starknet, $3 billion. The Pudgy Penguins with the Pengu drop, 3.6. Unbelievable. Listen, JR's in the chat already. We got Roar here. Holy smokes. The gang's, we might have to do 4 p.m. streams Eastern if this is what it's going to take, because the fam jam is here. You want to sell at a higher price? Well, we're gonna give you some of the rationales and reasons across everything. Don't you worry. But the ape coin drop isn't even on here. Like, looks rare. Had 712 million, 1 inch 671, Barrett chain at 647. I really thought that the ApeCoin drop would have ended up on here, and that looks like that is not the case. But Ethereum name service at 1.87, early.eth users were rewarded. Do you guys remember when that happened? Do you remember all the craziness around the airdrop season, around ENS's airdrop? Because there was a lot of them. Okay, so keeping with Cape here, this person's got a bunch of insights, so let me follow. This is good. So I don't know how to package this in a way that's going to totally like make a lot of sense, but let me give like a slight background. Okay. So Dingaling is a massive individual within the NFT space. We're talking back in the day, they used to buy first serial edition NBA Top Shot moments. So as an example, there was, let's just say, 1,000 moments, and people typically valued the number one serial of that higher than, whatever random number a little bit later. And so Dingaling at a point, early days, was sweeping number ones, collections just in general within the space, and everybody was like, oh my God, this person is a billionaire. True. But then it started coming out that, okay, maybe this Dingaling person is like CZ's from Binance, the former CEO, second in charge. There's some kind of connection in there. Maybe there was funds given for Dingaling to really get a huge position with NFTs. We don't really know, but the rumors started swirling. And so, like yesterday, Dingaling updated their profile saying builder of bop.fun, which came out the other day, and previously ex-Binance CRO and founder of PancakeSwap, which I think the average person within the space just knows Dingaling as a very big NFT collector. So then there was all this hoopla coming out saying, holy crap, this is very big news. Binance founder CZ is saying publicly shaming Dingaling, saying that he was never really an employee or an ex-CRO of Binance, and that Dingaling was fired from Binance due to insider trading. If this is true, it's going to be a major hit to Ding's reputation. If you know who Ding is, you know his rep has been really great in the past couple of years due to NFTs and various others. Okay, so generally agree with that. And then Dingaling, so this is somebody's like just loose comment. This is somebody's loose comment regarding it, but just sharing. Dingaling made so much money at Binance, including sharing listings before they went public, that he was able to bankroll his NFT spree, which destroyed a lot of capital. And now he is back with the Shitter project. Hilarious how one can waste away generational wealth. Should have retired long ago. Now, this is a very negative viewpoint because you almost like forget it for a second of like, oh yeah, right. All those like first edition Top Shot serial numbers, some of the other stuff. There's going to be things that absolutely performed, right? Your winners sometimes completely outweigh your losers, but this is somewhat of like a negative tape regarding it, and there's transcripts and all this kind of stuff around it. But CZ saying Dingaling wasn't a C-suite, like there isn't an interview he did mentioning that he's basically a co-founder of Binance in a very powerful position. So again, I don't know what the hell happened here, but something did. Now, this isn't necessarily, I mean, this could be from that same interview, but there was a clip that I wanted to take that I saw Will highlight a little bit earlier that was talking about AI and blockchain. And we have the notion, or at least kind of, we're sitting here and saying, all right, we're being told that AI and blockchain are this big kind of, component that's going to take over the world here, but is that actually the case? Here's what CZ has to say.
Part of the industry excites you the most? I think there's a lot of stuff happening, sort of like below the noise, right? So I think AI is a big sector. So AI will marry blockchain. AI needs blockchain. AI is a post-blockchain technology, so you will use blockchain natively. Blockchain can use AI a lot as well. And then science, what we call DeSci, I think that still has a lot of long-term positive impact. Fundraising in science is difficult. The problem is science takes a long time, right? So for the meme coin traders, like they're not interested in that. They want like return next day. But I think science long term is going to be huge, biotech, etc. So it's very conceivable to use crypto smart contracts to raise money for science projects and deliver them on milestone basis or on a time basis, and incentivize millions of small research labs around the world to be able to do their research. And that combined with big data AI capabilities, I think we'll see a lot of accelerations in terms of drug discovery, understand human biology.
That's great.
So all of that stuff is going to happen, and is happening. There are other things like more obvious ones like RWAs. There's big traditional companies doing that. BlackRock, Citadels, etc. And also the ETFs are interesting because now we're bringing the traditional institution money into crypto.
Okay, so there's a clip. CZ bringing up RWAs as well. We do the RWA Segments podcast in sponsorship with Segments. So if you guys check out the link down below, or if you go on my bio and actually be able to hear from that, it's not me giving all my opinions on this. Listen, you understand that we're trying to learn and recite things in a way that's kind of understandable, and had a phenomenal conversation today with Travis John, which that'll be the episode next week, I believe. And then tomorrow we have another one with Matt Bartlett. But if you're wanting to hear some of the brightest minds in the industry, would love for you guys to check out that podcast. The future, here's my hot take, not really hot, but still, is going to have a lot of filters. Yes, now we're not talking about coffee filters necessarily, but if you go to any kind of restaurant, you can get different flavors of foods, right? You get to pick what you want. Do you want scrambled eggs? Do you want eggs that are like over easy? Do you want eggs on toast? Do you just use eggs, and then you can, there's like 100 billion different ways you can end up doing it, right? Well, maybe not that many, but it's a filter on what you love. And I think that's going to happen for everything moving forward, that you're just going to experience the things you love just in various filters. So, all right, try to explain yourself here, Schiller. All right, I will. So here's an example. The new City Connect jerseys. This is Major League Baseball. The Diamondbacks, they're now having these like purple uniforms that are the serpentines, right? After snakes, Diamondbacks, rattler snakes, whatever. Okay. Now, we can go down the list, right, of all the different sporting teams, mainly soccer, football, soccer, depending on if you're in Europe, that have different jerseys every single year, which is basically the same thing, but with slight variants. And then the White Sox here are doing something with Chicago, trying to do the Chicago Bulls variation. So it's something you love with a different kind of vibe to it. And even more related, remember the whole Studio Ghibli thing? Well, here's a Family Guy filter and then the Studio Ghibli filter. And so this person just has their profile picture and it's done in two various things, but it's what they love. And we can do the same thing. I could put this hat in a generator and come up with various takes on it, right? And so what if for all shows and everything in the future, I mean, here's an example of somebody showing what Family Guy would look like in real life. What if they did Family Guy the exact same way as the animation, but they just had actual actors, or maybe it was AI generated actors that were the same? Would you end up watching that? We could argue maybe it's not the same quality, maybe it's not the same update, but I think the filters of everything is going to be one of the biggest components moving forward. And I'd pay attention to anybody that's working on something to be able to do that. Because listen, IPs, songs, games, you can try stuff. A lot of it's just the reiteration of something else with a slightly different skin. Okay, MLB news. Ross Stripling has announced his retirement. What the hell does this have to do with XFeed? Well, this is one of the packs, or excuse me, player moments that I have on Candy Digital's MLB platform. I got a couple packs a while back, and Ross Stripling was in it. And it made me think, made me have a little bit of a thought, right? Of going back to when moments used to rise in NBA Top Shot because of a retirement, because of an injury, because of whatever variations. And does that happen anymore for like NFL All Day, for MLB, for UFC First Strike? Or is like the speculation been completely crushed. Because it just feels like, generally speaking, speculation is gone. But Ben.zzz here is saying they're crunching stats numbers. So guess what? There's going to be a whole bunch of liquidity from people that were in Cambria. Season 2 rewards coming shortly. Preview of what's to come with other page. So I'm going to have to explain what happens here because it might be a little bit harder to read, or you might be able to. But they're typing in, replace the tower with a giant cactus. So they've typed this into their AI prompter, and you can see things are running here, and it is going to switch this tower to a giant cactus. And all they did was give it a singular prompt, and then boom, there you go. You have a giant cactus. The tower that you once loved is now a cactus. So another example of the filters, slight changes, the AI integration, the advancement, what people are going to have fun with, bada boom, bada bang. See you, Skype. 2003 to 2025. Now moving to Microsoft Teams. That's tough, but I remember Skype back in the early day. First filter is, in my opinion, is when companies, decision takers, people, they get their objectives, they reach life they wanted, something switch on them, and they start caring less about some things, which could bring advance for everyone. This happens with all brands so far. You know, hell yeah. Well, Doodles, when we're talking about brands, some of the ones from Web3, do they end up having their own niche or bigger audience? A pot of the Dude token starting at 500,000 is up for grabs. Make your department head happy or get canned. Coming to a timeline near you. So it looks like the game's going to be called Lord of the Files. And so where does this game take place? Because Doodles is on base. Doodles is on ETH. And there's a whole bunch of side networks that they'd probably just be like, hey, you know what? We can jump on that too if they want to. So where does Lord of the Files and everything that Doodles is doing come from? Now, we're also waiting for Doodles token to actually launch. We've seen a whole bunch of different platforms start showcasing Doodles of some sort. As we're seeing a couple of different variants here as we're scrolling down the timeline here. And they have just kind of a quick relapse of showing all the different artists. Pharrell Williams, Trippie Redd. OGs meet at the water cooler at 1 p.m. That was 5 hours ago. I don't exactly know what the hell that means. Doodles are showing love with the artists who keep the culture alive. Drip creators might be eligible to claim Doodle. The most active trader is on BonkBot, and then the traders on Vector. So I guess they're looking for people that are actively trading coins to drop this token to. Shall be interesting, but I don't know what the hell the water cooler at 1 p.m. is standing for. Doesn't seem like they posted, or maybe this is 1 p.m. in a different timeline. Justin Ripple pledges $25 million in Ripple stablecoin USD to support U.S. classrooms, teachers, and financial literacy initiatives nationwide. Well, that's one way to get some good PR, 100%. Fortnite is selling in-game Baby Yoda Crocs for the same price as the entire Battle Pass, approximately $10. Now, we've been on here before, and we're talking about, in-game skins. Is it too expensive to have them at $20 a pop? But if you want to get Yoda-branded Crocs in a video game, they're charging $10. And again, I keep saying, I think this is going to be such an easy lift for companies that they're going to be pushed in this way. You don't have to worry about manufacturing. You make one digital asset and you can sell millions of it. Going to be an absolute moneymaker for those that get integrated within these metaverse worlds that are successful. In Fortnite, if you've seen the conversation the other day from Tim Sweeney, actually made reference to the fact that Fortnite is considered a metaverse. They're working on standards. I know within the Futureverse community, we keep wondering of I feel like they've hinted at something with Epic before, but Tim Sweeney mentioned that they were working on their own standardized language for something. So there's still maybe something to it. I'm not exactly sure, but we'll see. Why was Chill Guy 700 million market cap? And why was Zero Bro 1 billion? We were in good times and we didn't know it, man. I don't know. You still look at the top 100 coins and you're like, why the hell are half of these the way that they are? New Tether CEO announces that Tether AI is coming soon. Personal Infinite Intelligence, a fully open source AI runtime capable to adapt and evolve on any hardware and device, no API keys, no central point of failure, fully modular and composable, WDX infused to enable USDT and Bitcoin payments. Tether AI tech will enable an unstoppable peer-to-peer network of billions of AI agents. All right, so I'm just going to go out and say it. This is the thing that I don't know how to view when we're going into the future, because anybody that's a bigger entity is just doing their own thing, right? So Tether, it's creating their own AI platform. So why are they going to use anybody else's? And we can go down the list, right? And obviously there's going to be businesses and companies that are going to take advantage of somebody that's already like created something out there. But that's probably the biggest thing that I'm trying to figure out, of if everybody's doing this, are they not just going to be on their own rails, trying to get themselves having the most benefit of whatever it be? Because I would have never thought that Tether would be like, yeah, we're going to do AI agents. But here they are. No one's really talking about it, but Polymarket, which you can bet on different things happening, quietly bought a well-known football account and is going full force on end users without even mentioning crypto. Chad move, go where the users are, speak their language, and let the crypto part fade in the background. So I don't want to click on this, because, you know, X comments on like more popular posts ends up showing some, you know, pretty crazy things occasionally. The amount of people within the comments of like whatever this account were being like, yep, I'm unfollowing, what the hell is this, is unbelievable. So in a way, they're all fears like sort of right, but if people that have been paying attention, they are absolutely shredding it in the comments. Everyone wants to sell their tomatoes until someone sells tomato soup, then everyone will elaborate better products. Yo, I love it. Pro tip, the Anon artist is never secretly famous. You guys think of the different NFT collections that came out, that like the team was Anon or the artist was Anon, and people like gave these elaborate stories. We talked about asylum halls. If you type in asylum halls on YouTube, I think you'll find the video of me going over it, because back in the day, people convinced others that this random account before it revealed was the associated with Larva Labs, the creators of CryptoPunks, and that was absolutely not the case. So totally agree with that. Inspirational. 49ers wide receiver Brandon Ayuk bought a custom Lamborghini URUS or Urus worth over $300,000. All right, so this person's got a collection of cars worth over $1 million. And it's wild to think that everybody's got different amounts of capital to put towards whatever they want to collect. But I'm just trying to think, like, man, having a car collection of that expensive cars is like cool, but at the same time, like, you're going to have to pay insurance for it. What's the resale value? How often are you actually going to drive these different cars? Not along, you know, on top of going out and paying gas for all of them and just everything else. I'm like, man, people pick friggin' expensive hobbies. And here we are buying the Houston Texans 2025 NFL draft cap. Hell yeah. May the 4th be with you. Obviously, this was on the weekend, but another cool collector's edition, the 2024 Star Wars Chrome, Hamill, Fisher, Ford, TPL, AU Superfractor 1 of 1. So what do you want? The Superfractor card? Or do you want to go and get in a very expensive car? I don't know how much this is, so it's probably not anywhere close to the car, but still cool to see one of the 1 of 1 masterpieces. Ooh, we got some problems in paradise. Blast, remember Blast Network? Hasn't tweeted since April 3rd. Pac-Man, CEO and founder, hasn't tweeted since April 3rd. Anyone know what's going on? So this goes into like the speculative realm, where, I mean, Abstract right now is absolutely popping off, and I think Abstract is definitely here to stay. But can you remember back in the earlier days of Blast and people going out for Blast farming? Wolf Game ended up merging over there, getting a whole bunch of money off of selling boxes on there, and apps were rushing to it because they thought, hey, this is the hot narrative right now. We continually have that problem within the space, and it's tough to see. Because I'm curious, like, have you guys seen anything regarding Blast in a minute? Because I sure as hell haven't. Remember the guy who spent $230,000 American on LeBron, and we all jumped in after reading the article? Yeah, he isn't collecting anymore. What? So I remember the article was by a guy named Jonathan Bales. But I don't know if their account was called Easy Aces. Maybe they were. But damn. Back to the point of everybody FOMOing, thinking the hype was the way that it was, and it was going to stay that way forever. $20,000 on an Anthony Davis, $11,000 on a LeBron. LaMelo going for $8,000, a different LeBron dunk, going for $12,000. Some of the early days of NFTs. Crazy, crazy stuff. Many years later, and still the only NFT I am really interested in is collecting NBA Top Shot. I own like 1 or 2 Top Shot moments, but I browse the marketplace every night. I can't say that for any other NFT collection. So this is weird. And I don't mean just the fact of like they're saying like the only NFT that I collect is Top Shot and I only own 1 moment. Like, so that's sort of odd, but let's go with it for a second and say, well, you know what? Somebody just really likes the fact of this is an officially branded product. You get to relive the moments, and you don't even necessarily have to own it. You can just bookmark whatever page you want, relive the moment. Same as, right-click saving a certain image that you like within the NFT realm. But it's funny to think about. But also does kind of highlight the potential value here regarding some of the well-branded NFTs. The Seeker, the Solana mobile phone. Again, I ordered one of these like forever ago. I don't really do anything on Solana, to be totally transparent, but they along with other people are kind of showcasing the doodle. This is the doodle phase. And everybody's getting hyped up. We'll see how many people change their profile picture to something regarding doodles, similar to what we saw with Pudgy Penguins when they did the Pengu coin, and similar to what we saw as well with Anime Coin and Azuki when that was about to drop. A lot of different collections for all of them went back and did that. Fun fact, less than 7% of the global population is invested in crypto. And Rafa Simon saying, what happened to this project? Weren't people super bullish on it? So Ether, it's another one. Guys, what the hell happened? And there was all this conversation about Overworld. I don't think that's the last one here. Yeah, it's not. But people having all these threads on these massive collections that raised inordinate amounts of money. They just seem to like not do anything. Valhalla would be another one. But it feels like there was a whole bunch within like a very certain time cluster that just seemed like it happened and then faded away. And Ether apparently is doing clothing or something now, but I haven't seen it on my timeline at all. Meta, yes, the Facebook, Meta, wants to go full send in autonomous advertising, scrapping the old ad platform and replacing it with agents. You set the goal and budget, it handles the creative targeting and optimization. Mark Zuckerberg, in quotes, yeah, or we just make it for them. I mean, obviously it'll always be the case that they can come in with a suggestion or here's the creative that they want, especially if they really want to dial it in. But in general, we're going to get to a point where you're a business, you come to us, you tell us what your objective is, you connect to your bank account, you don't need any creative, you don't need any targeting demographic, you don't need any measurement except to be able to read the results that we spit out. I think that's going to be huge. I think it's a redefinition of the category of advertising. So what else potentially do agents affect? And we're seeing agents really starting to come as a forefront within 2025. And it felt like, going into this year, stablecoins were the conversational piece. And now I feel like it's shifted to agents now that we're, hitting into Q2 here. Curious if you guys have any thoughts, but that's going to be it for this edition of XFeed. Thank you so much for coming on through, JR and Roar. Appreciate you guys being here live. I don't think we had anybody chatting over on Abstract, but if you were watching on Abstract, thank you so much. Go Texans. Again, the NFL Draft Caps 2025. Some of the best in the biz. Unbelievably good. Enjoy the rest of your day. We'll see you tomorrow. Peace.